Christmas, and welcome to a special edition of Next, where we are celebrating some of the most interesting and most unforgettable stories of this past year. The holiday season is at its best a time to reconnect. A man from Denver, Aaron Stark, came to Next to share for the very first time the story of how he reconnected. He reconnected with the world years ago, and it stopped him from becoming a school shooter.
I was almost a school shooter. I didn't carry out anything, I didn't hurt anyone, but in 1996 I almost did the worst possible thing. If you get told you're worthless enough, you will believe it. I was picked on and bullied for being fat, for being smart, for not playing sports. So I got angry. When I finally got to the point where I was at my absolute worst, I tried to find an assault rifle. I tried to get a hold of a gun. I wasn't able to. It was going to be a large explosion of pain and suicide. I was going to try to kill a lot of people and then kill myself. And it was not directed at the people, it was directed at myself. If I had a rifle, I would have been a killer. But if I had love, I wouldn't have wanted a rifle. And it's a changing thing. The only things that brought me out of that were true friendship. I have personally had my life saved by someone taking me over to their house when I was suicidal, and her mom made me a blueberry peach pie, and I didn't realize that it was for me. I got there and there was a get-together for me with the pie, and I was literally suicidal that night, and nobody knew. I hadn't told anyone, I hadn't made any signs, but that one act of kindness literally saved my life. And I think that that's what we need to give more of now. We need to show more love. You still need to give love, even when it's pushed away. Love the people who deserve it the least. Today I have 4 beautiful children. I have a wife who loves me. I have the world at my fingertips. And I never knew that I always had it. If we could just show some of our kids that they actually have the world already, then maybe they would enjoy it instead of looking at it like it's painful.
After appearing on Next, Aaron's story got national and international attention. He's since gone on to tell his story on stage in a TED Talk. We give RTD a lot of grief on Next, holding them accountable for promises that are broken even more often than their trains. But we also met a dedicated team at RTD that handles the everyday grumbling of the transit agency's customers, and they do it with exceptional skill and good humor. Here's our Steve Steger.
Think of it as coming to work at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's when I come. And this is the first thing you see. How will your day go?
Not well. Not when your inbox is full of stuff like this.
Please fix the in Orchard Station sign. Homie don't even know when the train is coming when he's off work. We ride in this now, latest F.
So, no D train. What the you people are intensely incompetent. Get your together.
This is how the day tends to start for Corey, C, and Virginia, RTD's social media team. People can be rude, even when they know something bad happened.
Even people that knew it was a fatality are still, I want you to pay for my Lyft, my Uber, you ruined my morning.
They understand the anger.
I grew up with a single mom, transit dependent until I was 16. So I do understand what it feels like to be lugging your groceries on the bus.
What they don't understand is the way people vent that anger. Like C.
Media. I didn't have a Facebook account. I didn't know anything.
The grandmother who was blissfully ignorant about social media before she joined the team.
I still need some help from them. Urban Dictionary, they taught me how to use that.
And the training comes in handy when she reads some of this stuff.
You all on some ho The C line is the OG line. I don't know what that means. That's Urban Dictionary. And you all up. We've been writing this for years, and it feels like you are more forgot about us. And I don't want my children and my grandchildren to hear me say.
Oh, we get death threats. I don't think people realize the impact that has.
I was trying to find the one where it says, I'm going to waterboard everybody.
So you can imagine, on the rare occasion someone says something nice, it's a big day.
We share that amongst each other.
When you get those 1 to 5 people who send a really nice comment, sometimes it makes me want to cry.
Does it sound like your cup of tea? There's a desk open.
Yeah. How good are you at taking abuse? Can you send out a tweet without inciting a riot?
Our next question series takes whatever you're wondering about and turns it into the news. No question is too big or too small. Like the question from a viewer named Gail, wondering if Coal Mine Avenue got its name from an actual coal mine. What our Steve Stager discovered is a story about history and modern-day development in the suburbs.
I imagine it goes unnoticed.
If it wasn't for the name on the road, you'd have no reason to expect there was history here. Some recent developments got an ex-viewer wondering if the rumors she'd heard were true, that there's a coal mine under the ground at the corner of Coal Mine and Kipling.
The coal mines are the Economy Mine, which is right there on the corner of Kipling and Coal Mine Avenue on that southwest corner.
That's Jeff Graves, the director of the state's Office of Active and Inactive Mines.
So they mined down about 500 to 600 feet and then hoisted that coal out through shafts. They began in the early 20s, operated up until about 1937, 1939. Here, this probably would have been the outskirts of Denver at that time.
The Economy Mine goes directly under Coal Mine Road near the corner of Kipling. If you look at it from the air, you'll see a bunch of vacant land. That's about the area where the mine is.
For the most part, counties and cities have done a reasonably good job of designating certain areas as open space or through land use, trying to avoid having construction over those areas.
That's very true. There are signs all along Coal Mine warning you to give the highway department a call before you dig. When we did, they told us they actually had to design Coal Mine Road differently here in case the ground gave way below. It essentially would act like a bridge should the ground collapse underneath it. The developer who bought the property here realized he couldn't build homes on it right away, so he built a golf course. So, you could have been stepping over history and didn't even know it.
Troy Montoya first came on next to explain why he is one of the many people who are homeless in Denver but will not stay in our city's shelters. Troy told his story without a bit of self-pity. He just wanted to find his own way in the world. We lost touch, and we wondered whether that ever happened, until Troy got back in touch with us recently.
I know oftentimes being homeless, one of the things I felt invisible, that I didn't matter. And I think with being able to reach out and saying, this is a success story. Hi, my name is Troy Montoya. I'm an alcoholic and I used to be formerly homeless. Right now we are in the back of the building of Stout Street. I'm in the alley where I used to live. I think for me the turning point had been that I wanted out, that I had found AA, that I had found other 12-step programs, and that I had found the coalition, the Colorado Coalition for the Homeless. They saved me, they rescued me, they pulled me off the streets and they gave me a worth. And so for me, it gave me the drive to stand up, to pick up the pieces, and to understand that I was worth having a roof over my head. I deal with addiction day to day, I deal with mental illness day to day. I struggle with depression. I wake up some mornings and I don't want to get out of bed, but at least I have the tools to do a load of laundry, get up in the morning and take a shower and put myself together. That's the next step, is getting stable enough that I can go to work and I can become part of society again. And I want the taxpayers to know that their money is going to good use. It's hard to look at the alley, it's hard to live across the street in a beautiful new building, but I come back here every once in a while so that I remember what I have and where I've came. These are the keys to my freedom.
Political news and political ads took over our airways this fall, but a lot of you really seem to love a daily distraction from politics in our spoof political ads.
Kyle. Marshall. My name is Isaac Hartstone, and I approve this message. Hi, I'd like to talk to you today about trolls. Trolls like me get a bad name during campaign season. Political trolls lurk on Twitter and Facebook. I live in the forest outside Breckenridge. Political trolls are made up of rage and lies. I'm made up of wood and sticks. Breckenridge might make me move in the spring. Maybe if political trolls would stop hiding behind anonymous social media accounts in their mother's basements, people would be nicer to the real trolls like me. I mean, I'm not even allowed to vote. I'm made out of wood.
Paid for by Trolls Are People Too.
I'm Steve Steger, and I approve this message. They're flooding our commercial breaks. Negative ads with their dramatic music, overwrought voiceovers, and often embellished facts. Terrible for your mental health. They're leaving you begging for that car commercial again. You know the one. You deserve a break. You deserve puppies. Puppies have been a true leader in the realm of happiness with a proven track record of voting no on negativity. 99% of people approve of puppies, and the 1% who don't agree puppies are better than negative political ads. This November, find a puppy and pet it. It'll help your mental health. Paid for by the Coalition to Give People a Break.
I disappeared for a bit in February and came back with a pink jacket and an announcement of one of the greatest joys of my life, the birth of my daughter. What Next viewers did not see that night was me struggling to pull on the jacket at the last minute before the announcement. So see if you can tell that I am struggling both for composure and to catch my breath. Was your guess correct? I was sure we were having a girl all along. My wife was certain too. So now, a lifetime of new surprises will unfold for my family, just like for yours. You know, as a first-time parent, most of what I have gathered so far about parenting is from This Is Us. So you gotta forgive me for quoting Gerald McCraney's doctor character, who recently said, "A new father is the most fearful creature alive." I now understand that, but you are not looking at a fearful man. You are looking at the most hopeful, optimistic, and grateful man on earth. I have also been told that parenthood is a humbling experience, and we all know I could certainly use a humbling. I hope that my daughter grows up loving to laugh like we do here together. I hope she learns that laughter is a powerful weapon against sadness and fear. So perhaps I was one of those fearful creatures at the hospital that day, laughing with the nurses when one of them turned to me and said, "You got a lot of dad jokes for somebody who's only been a dad for 5 minutes." Let the humbling begin. As often as we talk about daughters having daddies wrapped around their little fingers, nature, of course, dictates that it literally begins in reverse, with hers wrapped around mine. The moment this happened, I offered her a pony, out loud, at the hospital. I'm serious. I just kind of blurted out, "Do you want a pony?" I hope she does not remember that when she's old enough to ask for a pony and smile up at the most hopeful, optimistic, and grateful man on earth. We play a game called What Do You Say? Our effort to solve Colorado's many pronunciation debates. None more controversial, though, than the evolving way that people say the name of our state itself.
There has always been an issue over what is the right way to say Colorado.
Linguist Rich Sandoval says English speakers who named our state wanted to rip the word from its Spanish roots.
El Rio Colorado.
Evidence from the 1800s shows schools teaching a version that sounds strange to our ears.
Colorado.
Colorado. We'll call that the pioneer pronunciation. Another way of saying our state's name still persists on the plains.
You can still hear Colorado, which is an older version that used to be more popular, but there still are people that you might find in the Eastern Plains saying Colorado.
Sandoval says Spanish speakers often use Spanglish.
Colorado. They might still do the ado thing, but you'll hear a ko instead of a ka.
But the dominant pronunciations highlight Colorado's clash between natives and newcomers.
Locals will say, well, of course it's Colorado. That's how I've always said it. I grew up with Colorado. That's what we say. It sounds right. It's our state. We have the right to decide and to tell you how to say it. You're the new ones, right?
Newcomers are more likely to hew closer to the Spanish pronunciation.
Colorado, you don't say avocado, right? So it should be Colorado, like avocado, like tostado, right?
Sandoval says that's a larger trend in language practiced by people who think they're better educated. He sees this newer pronunciation squeezing out the most recent native one.
I don't know if the Colorado thing will ever disappear because it is a marker of insider status, but at the same time, for those locals who fashion themselves as being highly educated and that kind of thing, there's going to be some pressure on them to say Colorado. We'll see what happens in the future.
All right, what do you say? Is there a Colorado place name that you think a lot of people get wrong? Maybe even me? Email next@9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext. We love a good mystery around here. Even better if it also involves an element of Denver's rich history. Now, some of you may think that I don't know a good story from a hole in the ground, but I promise you this next one is both. Here's our Steve Steger.
This story starts where so many do in Denver these days.
They're planning on scraping it and putting up a 3-story modern farmhouse.
Molly Crack couldn't save the house, so she tried to save a Russian sage bush.
I sort of had gotten in a little bit over my head.
She started digging a hole for it in her backyard. 2 scoops later, things got out of hand fast.
And the earth just gave way and the shovel just completely disappeared into the ground.
Her shovel was sucked in, and so was she.
This is one of those great mysteries of life.
She casually calls it the pit.
So I dug out a little bit more and I thought, I can fit in there.
About 5 feet deep, surrounded by bricks, no mortar.
It seems like the bottom layer is a bunch of rock, like pieces of maybe charcoal. I did try and also burn it, and it didn't burn.
The pit may not seem too deep, but it's consumed her life.
It's come up in casual conversation probably more often than I would like, and usually over drinks. Most people are pretty interested in it temporarily. I think because I have to live with it, it haunts my dreams every night. What is it?
We wondered what it could be.
I tried to tell you, this is yours now. Now you're part of the pit.
Molly requires you wear headwear before you delve into the pit.
You gotta wear this hat.
And now seems as appropriate a time as any to tell you that after we left Molly's house this afternoon, the city's preservation folks told us this could be an abandoned outhouse or privy. 3 other history folks tell us it might be a well or cistern.
What do you think it is?
Treasure. It's full of treasure. Or bones. I'm pretty convinced. Or nothing.
Molly may never know what's really down there, but she does know. The way she discovered this says a lot about what's happening to her neighborhood.
Somebody spent time back here sweating and digging and making it so that this house could be functional for a family. And if somebody had paved this house, they probably wouldn't have even noticed it.
From the pit.
Journalism degree, hard at work.
I'm Steve Steger.
Experts visited that pit following our story, and they're quite certain it was a cistern. So that's great news for Steve Steger, who had climbed around in the pit, and then a bunch of viewers wrote in to say they thought it was a sewer. A one-day joke about people who cannot park turned into one of our most popular recurring segments of 2018. You've crossed a line. And this one might be my favorite. The Oscar Wienermobile taking up a slew of spaces at Rocky Mountain National Park. This is in the Bear Lake parking lot. Peter Burrows took this and thinks that maybe the driver should have parked the Wienermobile in the shuttle lot and taken the bus like everybody else. If you see someone crossing a line, or a few in a giant vehicle shaped like a hot dog, email a picture to next@9news.com or use the hashtag HeyNext. Back in Flash. The most Colorado thing we saw all year might just be the hawk that took up residence in the Thornton Costco.
The Costco Hawk is helping customers select the highest quality big screens by dive-bombing the TVs that are so crystal clear they appear to show live prey. And customers tell us when the store opened the doors at night to let the hawk leave, it stayed. A pigeon flew in, and the hawk ate it, feathers flying. The hawk has discovered the secret of Costco. If you circle around long enough, the free samples become a meal. I pity the poor lady putting out those tiny cocktail weenies, fearing an attack from the rafters. But we salute you, Costco Hawk, the most Colorado thing we saw today.
If you see something that just says Colorado, please share it with us so we can share it with the rest of our state. Email next@9news.com or use the hashtag HeyNext. Thank you for spending a bit of your holiday with us. All of us here on the Next team appreciate the conversation that we've had in 2018. And we look forward to addressing all of the interesting, outrageous, and unforgettable things we'll talk about together next time.